If you guys can hear me, spam brain matter in the chat. Okay, good. Let's go. All right. See you in a second. Your brain matters. Says who? Says who, Sky? Says who? Hey guys.
I ain't got no gray matter to spam, boss.
It don't matter, do it. It don't. Ah! So today we're going to be performing some lobotomies, but before we perform the lobotomies, I wanted to break down the history behind some lobotomies because it fascinates
Katya's
me.
brain matters.
Joke's on you, I don't need a lobotomy. Carved up my frontal cortex with an ice cream scoop after your debut stream. That's crazy, because that's actually one of the methods we're going to talk about.
Time for my lobotomy appointment. You'll still be able to see me today, right?
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna find out that some people were like so skilled at lobotomies. They were doing one in each hand, kind of like a circus act. It was kind of crazy. The height of lobotomy. By the way, live.
Live, laugh, lobotomy.
Yes. You're first, Sky. Yeah, no, one of
Boss
the...
was so busy in the femboy sex dungeon she lost track of time. Shameful knife ear.
What the fuck? No, I was busy prepping for your lobotomy, you ungracious piece of shit. I'm here to fix you. Alright? You know, maybe you don't deserve to have a lobotomy.
Wait, this I sent the dentist?
I mean, if you close your eyes and you, like, imagine, you know, while you still can, you can pretend it's the dentist. All right. Let's put on some atmosphere, shall we? So, the inventor of what we know as the lobotomy was Antonio Moniz, or Moniz? Antonio Moniz at lobotomy time. Moniz? I can't pronounce this. M-O-N-I-Z. Moniz. We'll go Moniz. Antonio Moniz. He was a neurologist in Lisbon. Though, how accredited could he have been? He got like a Nobel Prize for this shit, if you can believe it. So, the very first version of the lobotomy was like 1935, and it didn't actually have a hammer, and it didn't have an ice pick. John Lobotomy. Yeah, John Lobotomy. Manui? Oh, maybe. Anyway, the original method was he would drill 2 holes in your skull near the temple and inject pure ethanol in there. He would just fucking melt your brain with pure ethanol. You know, some people, it takes their whole lives, you know, to slowly build up and season their brain with liquor. He just, you know, kind of skipped that step and did it all at once. Now, why he did this was to destroy the little white matter fibers near the frontal lobe. Now, later, he decided this wasn't effective enough. So that is when he invented the equivalent of a glorified melon ball scoop that he would then stick into those holes that he drilled into the side of your head. Okay, so it was a wire loop called a licotome, and he would scoop out... Licotome? Licotome. My favorite Pokemon. And he would scoop out little bits of brain. Like, you would just, like, you know, you would melon ball it out of your skull. Since he's Portuguese, he should be referred to as João Lobotomy. That's crazy. Boss, how's your day been? It's been great, because I've been very excited. After I give you a lobotomy, I have a very fascinating story to tell you about what happened to me yesterday. I don't know if you'll be capable of listening to it, but it's worth a shot. There's a connection between the brain hemispheres and the frontal lobe. Corpus callosum. Yeah. So. The result of these very first, like, prototype lobotomies, the patients were calmer. They worked, sort of. It's because, like, they were, you know, fucking brain damaged. They had reduced emotional range and initiative. They were turned into zombies. Now, Walter Freeman, he was a psychiatrist, not a surgeon. He had no surgical training. Teamed up with the neurosurgeon James Watts. So Walter, Mr. Freeman, invented kind of like the prototype of the ICEPICK lobotomy. And it was called the prefrontal lobotomy, and it used like a blunt knife. And this was about 1936. So, again, they drilled holes in the skull. Again, in the sides of the head. They didn't do eyeballs yet. It was in the sides of the head. And they would cut, again, the white matter fibers with a blunt knife. Now, it was done in, like, the 40s. And hundreds of them were done. Hundreds of them. Now, keep in mind, most of this was all done in the US. They were like guinea pigs here. Oh, is vinyl going? Oh, just pop it in. Okay, you can have your lobotomy later. I'll give you a lobotomy at Vexpo. Freeman used a blunt instrument and the patient lived a half-life after. It sounds about right. And this is the true sequel. Yes. I'm gonna turn the music down a little bit. All right. Now, the ICEPICK era. ICEPICK happened 1945. So, a Freeman again ditched his partner, Watts, purely because he didn't like his pesky ethics. He looked at his partner, who was like, you know, maybe this isn't right. Maybe we shouldn't be drilling holes into people's heads and scrambling their brains. We shouldn't be cutting, things to their brain. He looked at his partner and was like, you pussy. You know what? I'm going to do it even harder now. And he went and he got a literal ICEPICK from his kitchen. Later on, he actually replaced it with a custom ICEPICK called an orbitoclast. And this is where the transorbital lobotomy came from. Yes. Look at that handsome gentleman. Doesn't he look so happy? Yes. And this is the most famous version of the lobotomy because this was the one that had like countless amounts performed. So many people were damaged for such a long period of time because this was considered proper medical practice for some reason. It's very, very often performed on women to help with their histrionics. Because, women are hysterical, Ehegio origins? So, the method for the ICEPICK lobotomy. Oh.
I go to Quran once and they stole my brain. Can't ever have anything in this metaphysical dimension.
You can't have shit in Detroit. Yeah, no. Now, lobotomies aren't standard practice in Chiron, but they're definitely practiced. Yes. It's why I know about them. But I wanted to dive a little bit deeper because I wanted to see the history about them on your side. All right. So, the method You knock out the patient with an electroshock. Then you slide the pick under the eyelid into the tear duct. Fun fact, I've actually had an instrument inserted into my tear duct before, and that shit is painful. That shit is, like, painful. They kept me awake the whole time, though. They were injecting saline into my eye, into, like, my tear ducts, and it was to, like, flush out, like, my system, and it hurt like a motherfucker. I actually passed out because of it, but no, I know exactly what it feels like. So, like, proto-lobotomy, maybe. Anyway. Sinus infection? No, I had a different thing for a different time. Anyway, you slide the pick under the eyelid into the tear duct. Then you tap it through the thin bone of the eye socket with the hammer. That's what the hammer's for. The hammer isn't actually for driving it into the brain. The hammer is to break, like, that delicate little bone area. Then, they take the pick, and they wiggle it. They just wiggle it side to side, very cutely, very quickly. You know, they don't want to cause damage. They just want to sever those pesky fibers. They just wiggle it side to side to sever the frontal lobe connections, and then they go to the other eye.
They should bring it back for women because clearly they have just gotten worse. Maybe then they will stop coping with AI boyfriends.
You're first. You're first. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. How fucking dare you, man? I was giving you, like, a history lesson, and you come here and you slander me? Oh my god. You know, I might just not wiggle it. I'm just gonna push this bitch all the way in. You're dead. You're dead. Alright. So. Now, Freeman typically could perform a full frontal lobotomy in 10 minutes, but he would brag that he could do it in 5. Bro was a seasoned vet of the sport. He was so excited. He was so happy to do this. This is what made his day. You know how people say if you love your job, you never work a day in your life? This was this for him. Like, how some people love VTuber. This guy just woke up with a spring and a step, a smile on his face, like, I get to perform a lobotomy today. Speedrunner. He did it for the love of the game, yeah. So, sometimes he would perform 2 lobotomies at once, one in each hand, just to show off. Like, he would go into, like, he would invite crowds to watch him, like medical students. He'd be in a surgical theater, which back in those days was, like, a bit of a spectacle. And he'd have, like, a fucking pick in each hand. He'd hammer it in, and he'd perform 2 lobotomies on 2 separate people at the same time. Like it was a circus act. Anyway, he was a deranged concert pianist. So, by the late 50s, about 50,000 lobotomies had been performed in the United States alone. Interestingly enough, only about 5 to 15% of patients died from complications. Like, before looking into this, like, properly, I genuinely thought, like, it would be, like, a massive amount. Like, it would, well, I mean, that is a massive amount because they shouldn't have died anyway. But, like, I thought it would be, like, 50%, right? So much of really psychiatry isn't so much I'm trying to help people. It's, I have a fetish for this and it might help people. Oh, I get. You see, this is why hentai is so important. This is why strange fat fetishists are so important. Like, no, if people don't have, you know how people go, well, you can't, you know, fiction is reality, so that means you're a bad person. It's like, no, like, I bet you, if Freeman had some good, solid guro, like, hentai back in the day, like, if he had, like, the good shit, he would, like, be staying in his room all day. he wouldn't be like going to the surgical theater with a spring in his step. He'd have all the material he needs. Or maybe he'd be a serial killer. I don't know. One or the other. Anyway. Being able to see stuff and not have to do it literally saved lives. That's been studied. Boss, don't try to justify your weird fetish. Come on now. Hi, Katya. Hi, Nico. All right. That or he'd be commissioning it. That's crazy. All right. So, 50,000 lobotomies. So, only about 5 to 15% of patients died from hemorrhages, seizures, or infections. Survivors had permanent impairments, like incontinence.
5 to 15% is an absurd number of death for any treatment, but I have to wonder how much longer this practice would have gone on if it wasn't done with literal ice picks and done with more safe tools instead.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It only started with literal ice picks. Like this one I'm holding right here, the orbitoclast. It is basically an ice pick, but it's actually retrofitted. This was considered a proper medical tool. Sorry.
1 lobotomy, please.
Coming right at sugar tits. All right. Wonder what the survivors' lives were like afterwards? Well, I'm getting to that. They often had incontinence, so they would shit themselves. They'd have childlike passivity and flat affect. All like emotions would be slurped out of them. They'd have a very hard time making rational decisions. They'd be basically incapable of taking care of themselves. What do you like? Just antibiotics, not treatment? No, antibiotics were around at that time. All right. So, Rosemary Kennedy is actually a very famous victim of the frontal lobotomy, because it was like when it was just getting hip. It was just after the ice pick lobotomy was invented in the 40s. The sister of the sitting president, John F. Kennedy, was lobotomized at 23 years old. So she was young. And it was because she had mood swings. You know, what every hysterical woman has. Now, it left her incontinent and with the mental age of a toddler. So again, like she couldn't like go to the bathroom properly. She couldn't speak. She couldn't move proper. She couldn't talk. Like she literally reverted back to a toddler permanently. Now, while that might be some people's sick fetish, probably not a good look for the family running the U.S. They tried to hide Rosemary for her father's political career. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, they locked her away in a home for the rest of her life. She vanished. Yeah. No, Howard Dully is also another famous example of a lobotomy from the 50s.
Would you give coloring books to your patients after the surgery?
I don't know if they'd be able to hold on to the pens, but like I'd give it a try. They'd be allowed the coloring books like until they tried eating like the crayons. Once they start eating the crayons, it's revoked. Has one woman moment. I think she needs her brain gone. I mean, it's entirely rational. I feel the same way, honestly. A lobotomy patient they tested LSD on. Supposedly, the rapid or... Okay. Okay, I can't read what you're saying there. So, he was lobotomized. Howard Dully was lobotomized at age 12 because his stepmother didn't like him. Straight up. His stepmother said, oh, he's a difficult 12-year-old boy. Now, he's famous because he actually retained enough mental capacity to write an autobiography about his lobotomy and surviving it. Like, he lived a horrible life because of it. But, like, I would suggest looking into it. It's a very good book. When was your lobotomy? Well, I can't have a lobotomy because then who would be performing yours? Come on now. Don't be daft. That's for after the procedure. So, Walter Freeman performed nearly 3,500 lobotomies himself before actually being, like, permanently banned from doing so. Like, he wasn't the only one doing lobotomies. He didn't do all 50,000, but he was the one who kind of, like, started the whole trend, right? He was banned from doing it in 1967 when a patient died on the operating table during her third lobotomy. This was her third lobotomy. Her family fucking hated her. How much did they cost? It really depended where you went. Some people just did it for the fucking love of the sport again.
You know what? Do it. A lobotomy is better than listening to your knife ear rambling.
You know what? You know what? Fine.
After my lobotomy, can I have uppies, Katya? Right pointing finger emoji, left pointing finger emoji.
You guys want a lobotomy? You don't want to listen to me that bad? Fine. Fine. All right.
It's a lobotomy or be a lobotomized world out there.
All right, close your eyes. It'll only hurt for a minute. How do you feel? How do you feel, huh? You feel nothing? Good. You shouldn't feel nothing. If you feel something, gotta go again. I don't want to play Sonic. Oh shit, we gotta go again. We gotta go again, boys. We gotta do another one. We gotta do another one. We can't have that here. All right, I think I fixed it. I think I fixed it. I think I fixed it. This is so fucking stupid. All right. Now, in the 50s and 60s, actually, lobotomy started being phased out because of the rise of antipsychotic drugs like Thorazine. They were cheaper, less messy, and they didn't, you know, involve skull cracking.
Joke's on you. I kept my real brain in a jar. That was just my loner.
Ah, Jeffrey, you little prankster. I can always rely on Jeffrey Epstein to bring in the laughs. Hello, creepy-looking VTuber. First-time viewer. Your model is pretty impressive. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, man. Now I go play League of Legends.
Yes, League of Legends. Oh, no, not League of Legends. Hold on. We gotta fix this. No. Hold on. I'll fix you. Are you better? Did I fix you? Are you better? Are you better? Are you better? Third time's the charm, right?
I want a brain transplant. Change my mind.
All right, which one am I changing it for? Now, lawsuits, ultimately, were what killed the lobotomy. I mean, lobotomies were cool. Lobotomies were awesome, even. They were effective in, like, the worst way. Unfortunately, they weren't to last. No. In the 70s, the legal system got their nasty little hands on the cute little medical procedure. It's unfortunate.
I love knife ears, 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 Katya is my savior.
I don't know why you would love knife ears, but, you know, I'll take the rest. You haters don't understand something. For something like Katya, you don't approach with I can fix her. You consider how interesting she is and how you'd mess all that up if you tried. What the fuck does that even mean, Gideon? What does that even mean? I'm just gonna, like, bash my own head in with this hammer. After the third lobotomy, The Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. That's insane. Now, after the 70s, there was a rise in chemical lobotomies, which is what we kind of have today. Now, this is more controversial. People like to say that these don't exist, or that people who call them chemical lobotomies are overreacting or hysterical, ironically. But I think it's important all the same to talk about them. Fido! Welcome on in. We're just performing lobotomies. And we're going over the history of the lobotomy. It's quite something. Welcome on in, Raiders. Welcome on in. Hold on. I gotta... Come here, Fangsie. First one's on the house. First one's on the house. Get over here, Fido. Get over here, Fido. Come on. It'll be fun. Close your eyes. What the flick, man? I can't tell if the lobotomy did anything. First one's on the house, right? Oh, absolutely. First one's free. Now, chemical lobotomies aren't surgeries. They're just drug regimens that suppress brain activity. Now, Thorazine is dubbed the chemical straitjacket, and it was first widely used as an antipsychotic. It blunted psychotic symptoms, but it also dulled personality, and it caused tremors, sedation, and dyskinesia. Again, this is an exercise, and can I read my own fucking notes today? She's just exactly the same after lobotomy. I stuck an ice pick in there, and she gained superpowers. That's all that I accomplished. All right, another one, Haldol, or haloperidol, and risperidol were later generations of antipsychotics with similar flattening effects. They didn't cut the connections in the frontal lobe, but they did, again, sedate, blunt emotions, impair, basically the same as lobotomies. The only thing it really didn't do was make you shit yourself. So, there you go. Made me even sillier. Ah, man! Just can't win over here. They tried to do me and my brothers in the 2000s saying we had ADHD. Yeah, basically, this is where we start to get into the controversial side of things. Now, today, chemical lobotomy is thrown around specifically in the conversation of overprescription of medical drugs for brain kind of things in general. So any kind of antipsychotic is kind of dubbed a chemical lobotomy. However, the only place that those arguments actually have weight is when it's prescribed to the children or elderly, specifically to keep them docile. So while ADHD medication, like, again, it's helpful for adults, it's helpful for some children, but it is often very overprescribed for people that might not actually have it, and they kind of just use it as a test, and then they keep the children on it for a very long time, and it does actually kind of have that lobotomizing effect. As well, there are antipsychotics that are overprescribed to teenagers. You may have seen a rise in the last 10, 20 years of people claiming they have BPD. The only thing that's prescribed for BPD is mental therapy and antipsychotics. Genuinely. And it's fine to give antipsychotics to somebody who has a fully developed brain because it doesn't prevent their brain from growing. It doesn't stop connections from forming. However, if you give antipsychotics to a child, it does have marketably big negative side effects. Fun fact for everybody here. I was somebody that was prescribed antipsychotics as a child. I never took them because, Sables are better than, everyone else in the whole wide world. We don't need drugs. We just beat the shit out of each other and we drink lots of liquor. No. But we're also very paranoid. All of my contemporaries that took the exact same drug that they were prescribing me that I ended up just not taking, they're all severely impaired. Thanks to Katya's treatment, I now pre-order Ubisoft games. Oh. You know what? Maybe it's for the best. We weed out the weak. And or amphetamine addicts. It's a very delicate conversation, for sure. But lobotomies have evolved generationally, and it's quite fascinating to see what people do with those they find difficult. All right, I think the let's turn my music back on. Does this mean I can park in the handicap spot? Only if you have a placard. Sounds about right. It's why my mom wouldn't agree to what doctors were saying, especially when they said I had ADHD for staring at a wall for 2 hours. Here's the thing. Sometimes children do have ADHD. This is a genuine thing. However, it is very difficult to diagnose a mental disorder in a child because a lot of times...
After the lobotomy, I started reevaluating some movies. That Artemis Fowl movie really wasn't that bad. You should give it
Listen here, you
another
little shit. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you in a way that matters. I'm gonna kill you so well. They're gonna be scraping pieces of your corpse off the walls of hell. Anyway. The reason why... Well, historically, they didn't prescribe children as often. And they're not supposed to. The reason is that for a lot of mental disorders, they often present, as mental disorders in children, but they're genuinely just side effects of a child's brain developing and growing in their environment. And a lot of times, they actually, I hate to say grow out of it, but they do grow out of these tendencies. A lot of children are considered genuine psychopaths by definition, but if they were actually diagnosed and treated with psychopathy and the drugs associated with it, they would all be chemically mentally castrated. Whereas majority of us will not actually become diagnosed psychopaths. They usually wait until the brain is mostly done maturing, so they know, okay, this wasn't just weird development, this is legitimately a problem. Now, they're doing less and less of that nowadays. Now they're genuinely just jumping on it as soon as it's, brought up. Part of that is just damaged medical establishments. I can't speak for maybe where you are locally, but I know that where I am locally, doctors are highly incentivized monetarily to prescribe maximum amounts of medication because they get a kickback. Kind of like how if you use code SABLE for 10% off your order of gamer subs, they would get maybe 10%, a 10-20% kickback for every prescription that they dole out that actually gets fulfilled. It's very corrupt over here. And I know that there are similar problems in various places in the world. And so if an overbearing or super paranoid parent takes their, let's say, 7 to 12-year-old child into the doctor and says, I have suspicions that my child might have this, and here is my proof and evidence, sometimes a good doctor will go, okay, well, here's some therapies, here's some tests, and this is the age and the threshold they need to meet to be able to qualify for these drugs. Like, that's what historically would happen. That's what should happen. Less of that is happening now, and now it's more like, oh, you suspect it? Okay, we'll do 1 or 2 tests, and then we'll give you a prescription. And sometimes it's just like a blood test, sometimes it's a brain scan, and regardless of the outcome of those, they will give you the prescription anyway, because it's about altering the behavior in immediacy. And you know what? The behavior is altered in immediacy. The parents who can't parent get what they want. They get an easier, simpler child for the most part. But that causes long-term damage for that person's development, and so they turn into non-functional or reduced functional adults. Feels like I'm watching a schizo version of Frederick Knudsen. Or Rip My Goat. Anyway. It's quite something. Well, that said, majority of this barcast has been cast. The lobotomy made me like VTubers. Well, I'm so thankful for it. Now we're just gonna chill. Now we're just gonna chat. I wonder what horrors we would have had to deal with if someone like H.P. Lovecraft got a lobotomy. Oh, none. We would have just had no H.P. Lovecraft books. He would have been busy doodling in the margins of a side of a newspaper. Yesterday, something fascinating happened to me at the casino. I want to give you guys a tangent, a little story time even. I don't do that very often. I typically keep what happens in the casino behind casino doors, but I feel like you would find this very entertaining. So, yesterday, it was like around midnight, and we have like one place open in Chiron at around those hours, okay? It sells like convenience items, and I love myself a good convenience item. It's the only place in this forsaken little kingdom area, you know, that sells good cups of coffee. I needed some midnight coffee, and so I went on a stroll. I went on my midnight walk to get my coffee. I roll up, get it, roll out, and I'm walking back. Getting close to 1 in the morning. And as I'm walking back to the casino, a lady runs up to me, and she's beaten, and she's bloody, and she's screaming, and I'm like, oh, shit, I'm going to have to do something. And she's yelling, like, call the guards, call the guards. And I'm like, oh, is she tweaking on something? I can't tell. Like, she could barely talk, and she was stumbling, and I'm like, okay, something happened. And I panicked, and I said, my phone's dead. I can't call anyone. And she's stumbling to me, and she's, like, crying, and, like, I can now clearly see that she has been beaten. And she said, well, somebody just, you know, came by. I was on the run from, like, an abusive husband, and I was staying at a lady's house. And a little bit ago, I discovered she was on drugs, and I confronted her. And then she, like, threw me in the back of her horse cart. And she was, like, driving erratically up and down the streets, and she threw me out onto the street. She threw me out onto the street, and then she tried to kill me. She tried to run me over. She climbed up. She beat me up. She stole all of my shit. She stole my life savings. She stole my passport. She stole my phone. She stole everything, and she's trying to kill me. And I'm like, oh, you know what? There's a guard station just down the road. And so I grab her arm, and I have to play escort mission for this stranger who's only been in my part of Chiron for 2 days, mind you. Total stranger. She's never been here before. Like, day 2, and her life fucking sucks. Anyway, so I was like, okay. It's like 1 in the morning at this point. Regardless if I call someone or not, it'll take like 20 minutes for anyone to show up. So it would be faster to literally just walk the 2 minutes to the guard station. So I've got her arm, And we're, you know, looking up and down the cobblestone streets, and I can hear the fucking wheels. I can hear the horn, and I can see them swerving up and down. And I'm like, oh my god, this person is actually telling the truth. This person is out of their fucking mind on some kind of drug. And so, as they're going up and down the street, like prowling, I've got this woman, and we're running up and down, and we're like diving into bushes and shit. And eventually we make it to the guard station. Guard station is closed. They have a payphone on the wall. And I'm like, okay, well, at least here we're like shaded by trees, so they can't actually see us. And if they drive by, this is probably a safer place to call. If the guard phone doesn't work, I can miraculously have like battery in my phone and we can call through my phone. But out on the middle of the road, that was not the place to do it. We would have both been mowed over. Anyway, so, oh, I've still got my, I've still got my coffee, by the way. And then, you know, we're sitting there. She's talking on like the guard like payphone on the side. He shows up. I at that point become very thoroughly distracted because I'm not kidding when I say that he was very attractive. He was very attractive. He was very calm. He had a very warm, soft voice, and I was just kind of like stun locked because like was this my reward for my fucking escort mission? Anyway, so he's talking her down, he's calming her down, and he puts her in the back of his carriage, and then he looks at me and he gets my information, and I'm kind of panicking because I had been lying for the past like 20 minutes at this point saying that my phone was dead. And so he asked me what my phone number was, and I don't remember what my phone number is. I always have to turn my phone on to check it. So I'm just like standing there like I can't tell you my phone number. You can't get a statement from me. And he's like, okay, well, how can I contact you? So I give him the address of the casino, and then I give him my email. I remember like half my phone number, but that doesn't do anything. So anyway, he drives off with her, and I could hear the other carriage in the distance squealing tires. It was terrifying. And he drives away with the woman. I hope she's doing okay. I really hope she's doing okay. Because I will say, like, that shit's scary. Honestly, I probably could have just pointed to the police station, but I know that it would have haunted me to, like, kind of leave her to, like, run around the town for herself. Especially since it's just, like, again, it's like, she was so disoriented. She could barely talk. She could barely walk. I just hope that he took her to the fucking, like, hospital. Anyway. So. Anyway. He said he'd be doing a house call today, and that was part of the reason why stream was delayed for later today. Because I had to give a statement to the guards. I had to give a statement to the guards. Yeah. But yeah, that was my little bit of excitement last night. Did you clean the place up before he visited? Oh, he only stood at the doorway. He, like, opened up the door, and he's like, oh, well, will you step outside? We need to, go over last night's events again. And I'm like, yes. Yes, sir. Could you keep speaking? Oh, yeah, you're probably an eyewitness to probably several crimes. So, yeah. The one time I leave pennies worth at home, right, guys? I'm gonna say the weirdest part about all of this. Oh.
Katya is such a good girl.
I don't know about that. I'm opportunistic, you see. Nothing I do is for free. I'll find a way to monetize this. Anyway. It's moments like that I really do wish I had, like, more weaponry on me at all times. But you're kind of restricted in what you can do this time of year, this part of Chiron. No, but the weirdest thing is that when she approached me, there was no adrenaline. Like, I could feel there was something really wrong, but I felt dead on the inside. Like, you know the way the model looks when I do this? Like, it was like every bit of emotion, like, drained out of my body, and I can't explain it.
Katya is a good bad girl. How about that?
I'll take that. And it was like the strangest feeling, because I've never really felt so empty and detached before from a situation, especially when it was like a theoretically terrifying situation. If anything, it was more like I felt inconvenienced, and in retrospect, that felt like, that's so weird to think about, because I know what fear feels like. I feel it all the time. I know what anger feels like. I know what sadness feels like. I felt like pity, but I didn't feel scared. And this was like an actively dangerous situation. But the whole time, I'm just like very viscerally dead on the inside. And even after we made it to the guard station, it was like, I was starting to, like, I was getting in my head. I was thinking, like, what's going on here? Like, this, like, it was like I was watching someone else, if that makes sense. Like, it's like I wasn't in the situation. I was, like, watching someone else. I noticed remorse wasn't on the list. Come on, sugar tits, I don't regret anything ever in my life. Everything is done with a purpose. And you know what? If something goes wrong, it has to be someone else's fault. You know why? Because I'm perfect. Yeah. Felt too much like a video game and your mind acted accordingly. I mean, unironically, again, it was just like, I sent messages to some of my associates like, hey, I just had an escort mission. I did that like 10 of those. So maybe you're right. Maybe it was just like I was too gamer pilled or something. But it was just like, it was the weirdest thing. Yeah. But we don't typically get that kind of activity this side of Chiron. Like, in different parts of Chiron, we get this kind of activity, but, like, never here. Never locally. Or if it happens here, I just never experience it. I always hear about it. It's the coffee. You didn't get your coffee. No, I was holding the coffee the whole time. I was literally walking back from the inn, the inn that serves coffee. It's like a buffer to directly thinking, well, that just happened and I was involved. Chiron is just Pharaoh's version of Detroit. No, Chiron is a glorious empire. Just sometimes there's some interesting individuals in it. Were you on low sleep when this happens? Oh, no, I have like a reversed sleep schedule. Like, I'm very active during the night, and I sleep during some of the hours of the day. So I wasn't low sleep. It was like, midnight is when I have dark lunch. That is when I have my second meal of the day. I just have like, what sticks out to me the most is just that there was a lot of blood on her neck, but there was no wounds on her neck. Like, I remember staring while she was talking and telling me about it. Like, how she got there and how she needed to get help immediately. And I was just looking at her neck the whole time because there was so much blood on her, but I didn't see where it was coming from. Like, she wasn't actively bleeding, but she had, like, massive bruises all over her body, and she just had, like, blood on her neck. I'm still thinking. Still trying to wonder where it came from. Dark lunch is what shadow hobbits have instead of second breakfast. Yeah! No. It wasn't that so much what that happened to me, so much as what happened that I'm over here now. Kinda. Like, I was very lucid. I didn't forget any of what happened. But it was more just like, emotionally I was detached from the situation. And that feels so inappropriate. Because typically I'm overly emotionally attached to a situation. Like, I've very rarely felt so detached from a situation. Typically I'm like, typically I need lobotomies. Typically I'm like histrionic even. I'm a bit unreasonable. I'm hard to be around because I overreact. But this time it was just like, I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. If only myself or Pygmy were there to assist you, Lady Katya. Yeah, then I would have had you guys, like, shoot down the carriage. Use your fucking Zeiton weaponry. Bust out those carriage wheels, kill the horse pulling it. Is it? It's what paramedics and such have to do or else they can't perform well. Yeah, but I'm not a paramedic. Yeah. You were experiencing bystander effect but overcame it. I don't know. It felt like an unskippable cutscene, if that makes sense. Because there was no one else there. It was genuinely midnight 1 in the morning. Middle of an empty street. There was like one vehicle going up and down the highway like a maniac. And there was this woman. And she needed help. Like, I don't know if I could have it in me to, like, leave her. I don't think it would have been possible. Albeit, I didn't even notice her. Do you want to hear the worst part? Want to hear the worst part about all this? When I lied and I said that my phone battery had just died, when she flagged me over, I didn't hear her at first because I had my earbuds in. And and I was listening to ASMR. I was listening to I was listening to those situational ASMR RPs. I had that in my ear, so when she was waving and screaming, all I could see was her waving, so I thought that she was genuinely on drugs. So when I took my earbuds out and she was like, I need help, call the police, I'm like, oh fuck. And she's like, call the police, and I shoved my phone in my pocket real quick, and I'm like, oh, my battery just died. Because, again, I didn't know at this point if she was on drugs herself, because I'm used to seeing tweakers. I am not used to seeing victims. I am very used to seeing tweakers, and tweakers will do all sorts of things to get up to you and steal your shit. Had your AirPods in? Oh, no. I don't use AirPods. I hate wireless stuff when I can avoid it. I like wired connections. I'm not a fan of Bluetooth. I avoid Bluetooth in every scenario when possible. Everything has to have a wired connection or I'm killing myself. Yeah. No, like, people always, like, go, like, blue in the face telling me, oh, you know, wireless keyboard, wireless mouse, wireless earbuds, and it's just like, motherfucker, I have a hard enough time with my wireless Huion tablet pen. And I've artificially taped a wire onto it so that I don't lose it. I don't want wireless earbuds. Bluetooth rays beaming back and forth through my brain. That bitch has enough problems. Wired mouses and controllers have a faster connection. That too. They're just superior in every way. Wireless needs a battery charge. That too. That pisses me off. I hate having to charge batteries for anything. It's bad enough to charge my phone battery. Like, I'd rather have cheap, shitty, wired earbuds than the best wireless earbuds. What gets me is that there's children these days that are calling wired earbuds like vintage accessories, and they're just using them as fashion statements. I saw that going around, and I got like psychic damage. I've got 10 wireless earbuds, and they're all missing one ear because I keep losing them. Cardiac you. Where did you get your lobotomy performed again? Can't hate kids enough. Oh, I can hate them more. I can hate them more. I'm very capable of hating them enough. It's confusing too, because stores still sell earphones with wires as a norm, especially at grocery stores. Oh yeah, no, like literally. I live and die based off convenience wired earbuds, but just, it's one of those things that kids just like genuinely gloss over because they've got their wireless. The only time I ever considered getting wireless earbuds was when I was at, I think it was Off-Kai, and there was limited edition Kizuna Eye earbuds that when you powered them on, she would like talk to you. That was so cool to me. But I withheld because I'm not an idiot that falls for propaganda. You see, I'm not the idiot who falls for propaganda. I'm the bastard who makes it.
It's a fashion trend for my gen to wear retro.
Okay, but every gen likes to wear what their version of retro is. It just fucks with me that retro is now like mid-2000s. Because that doesn't make sense. It isn't computing.
Earbuds don't fit my puny ears. Wingtips works only.
You know what I like? I like the wired earbuds that have like over-the-ear clips. Those are my favorite. I like them a lot. I don't like headphones, like the big cup ones that sit over your head, because they fuck with my hair and my scalp, and they give me like bald spots. Like unironically, like I lose hair, and they also give me really bad acne around my ears, which is horrifying if you think about how fucking massive my ears are. No. Earbuds for life. Kat, do you have one of those pens that lets you beam words at people and make them think they're hearing voices? Oh, sound lasers! Oh my god, I love sound lasers so much. Okay. Sound lasers are one of my favorite pieces of real-life technology, and I've actually seen them demoed in real life. Now, sound lasers, they're not tiny little pens. They're like about, I don't know actually if they've evolved in the last 10 years, but they're like the size of like a book binder, and They work like a light laser, where they compress sound into a tiny little beam. So instead of everybody hearing what's coming out of this, basically a speaker, it's getting compressed to a tiny little rod of sound, and it gets sent to one specific point. So you could like directionally target somebody with a sound laser. And I saw this witnessed. I'm trying to... Fuck it. Fantasy Starbucks. I saw it in Fantasy Starbucks, okay? I don't know what I'm gonna call that one. We're just gonna call it Fantasy Starbucks, okay? Just it's fucking hell. Anyway, so they were the person who was demoing it for me and the other members of my class in Zeiton, like my Zeiton compatriots. We were watching the demo from behind, and they're like, okay, you see that person in line over there? We're gonna make them listen to a song randomly. And then they pointed the laser at this stranger, and they started freaking out. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna send this other person a subliminal message. And then they pointed the laser. And since then, I have never trusted anybody that claims they have schizophrenia, to actually have schizophrenia. I genuinely think there are people out there who believe they've gone crazy, and the government is just telling them shit. They are being gaslit into believing they're schizophrenic, that they're hearing voices. Some of them might actually be hearing voices, but I guarantee you, because this technology not only works, it is cheap to both create and buy.
Sound laser and beam them the entire B-movie script.
Like, it is entirely possible that a government is actively using sound laser against people, and they have been, probably for about 30 years, because this technology has existed a little bit longer than that, but became really easy to create about 30 years ago. Like, genuinely, after that class had happened, I remember sitting there looking, like, at my notes and looking at, like, all of the resources that the professor had given me, and just thinking to myself, I could build one right now. I could buy all the parts. Hell, I could buy a pre-made sound laser, and I could commit a heinous act of terrorism. I sat there for like a day, like, imagining an act of terrorism with a sound laser. Like, I could make people kill each other with this. I could genuinely cause mass panic and hysteria, and it would cost less than $2,000. And, like, nobody would be able to prove it was me. Genuinely, like, nobody could prove it was me. Anyway, after 24 hours, I decided that maybe that was a bad idea.
We were this close to a more evil Katya timeline.
Oh, I'm gonna be so real. My whole life, I've had, like, struggles with homicidal ideation. Like, unironically. Like, it is a bit of a problem. I've never actually carried anything out, but, like, I've passively constantly thought about this kind of type shit. Also just said that out loud. Yeah, well, you know what? Nobody can prove shit. Maybe I'm just saying it for the bit, huh? Nobody can tell. Anyway. Talk a big game while saving injured women. Here's the thing. There's a difference between ideation and what you're actually willing to carry out in real life. Again, it's more of like an artistic, objective, what would it take? Kind of thing. Like a thought experiment. Do you also contemplate where to hide the body, hypothetically, of course? I don't like to delve too deep into those thoughts these days. But, like, it fascinates me that every time I come up with an idea and I see that, oh, a true crime channel on YouTube's already covered it, I watch it and I go, wow, this person carried it out exactly how I would have, and they fucking failed. I'm glad that I'm not actually a serial killer, because I would not actually do a great job. I would get caught. So, I don't know, that almost brings me a bit of peace, you know? Brings me a bit of peace. Because I can think of things, I can feel smart, but I can also live in a world where I can see other people have actually tried it and know that there is no realistic way that any of these ridiculous ideations could ever come to fruition in a way that would, you know, not go unpunished. So, I don't know. Therapeutic. Did you watch Dexter? Not yet. Not yet. That's actually something that's on my watch list. It's recently been hitting my feed a lot. Like, I've been getting a lot of Dexter propaganda. I just haven't had time. Evening, everyone. Lobotomy, please do. Robert Munoz. Hey. What's the wildest thing you've ever seen, boss? When I was younger, we have a post office here, locally in Chiron. One of the people that, you know, I would study with, they had an uncle who got into some bad shit. And one day, right before school, the guards in the guard station were surrounding the post office. And I remember looking there, and I remember seeing that that kid's uncle was a bloody smear against the wall. Apparently, the night before that, a deal had gone sour, and he got mowed down by a carriage and just smeared along the edge. There's also some, like, vehicle parts on the ground where, like, the guy's door got ripped off. I don't know, maybe I've always just lived in a place that's kind of like this. It's kind of disproportionate amount now that I think about it. Anyway. This kind of stuff normal in your area? Honestly, like, I was thinking maybe not. But now the more I think about it, and then after last night's incident, I'm just like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All jokes aside, I love the energy you bring to these streams. Glad I found you. Also, Jesus Christ, that story.
Speaking of Jesus, did you guys know there's a new Nicolas Cage movie coming out where he plays Jesus, and it's a horror movie, and it's like called like I think it's called Son of God or something, or The Next Day or something like that. It's coming out next year, and it's a horror movie based around him resurrecting. I'm not sure how biblically accurate it's gonna be, or if it's going to be accurate at all, or if it's just going to be like a Hollywood panderfest slobber yuck. But I'm seated because I'm fascinated by the concept of Nicolas Cage playing Jesus in general. Sounds fake? No! Like, literally, there's like a trailer out right now. Hold on. Let me... Hold on. Nick Cage... Okay, it's called The Carpenter's Son, and it dropped 3 days ago. Hold on, do you guys... Okay, before stream ends, do you guys want to watch the Carpenter's Son trailer with me? It's only like 50 seconds. It's a very short trailer. Okay, I'm just gonna move this to this monitor. Okay. Oh, whoops. No, stop panting, Nick Cage. I'm trying to let everybody see who you are. Alright. I love Nick Cage, man. I love Nick Cage. Unironically, he's very fun. Does this count as me doing React slop? Pretend that it doesn't, okay? Pretend that this doesn't count as React slop. Because React slop is for losers, and I'm not a loser. I never lose. I'm a winner. There we go. Okay. Yep, that's it. That's the whole trailer. Oh, that was like less than 50 seconds. Anyway. So it doesn't even look like Jesus is like the villain or like the horror creature. He's like the action movie hero. We've got like action movie hero Jesus fighting the devil, and it's Nicolas Cage. 2025 is this year, not next year. Oh shit. Wait, so for Halloween we get action movie Jesus by Nicolas Cage. We need more battle Jesus. Looks cool. Like, again, like, I'm fascinated by the concept. I want Jesus with an AK. Well, then watch South Park. Jesus is back, and he's not crucifucking around. Yeah. Again, like, this could be, like, totally, like, a blasphemous piece of garbage. But I like Nicolas Cage. Anyway. Always wanted a Paradise Lost movie adaptation. That's crazy. Dante's Inferno. I'm shocked they never gave Nick Cage a chance to play Joker. He's got the energy. I don't know if I'd want him to play the Joker. I feel like he'd be a good Riddler. Like, I love the Joker. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like he'd be a good Riddler. Nicolas Cage apologetics! Anyway. Hi again, KATYA SABLE. Hi again, Subatomic Mule number 3. Nick Cage is more Two-Face. Oh my god, you're so right! Nick Cage would be such a good Two-Face. Wait! Wait, that's Pig.
You should play the Dante's Inferno game.
I saw it, and the kind of gameplay loop doesn't appeal to me. I'm gonna be so real, but I love Dante's Inferno as an adaptation. Just various adaptations of it. I don't know. We'll see when it comes out how I feel about it. Nick Cage as Harvey Dent would be great. Oh, absolutely. Nick Cage could be alcoholic Batman. You know what? Actually, him as Harvey Dent or as Bruce Wayne. Nicolas Cage as Batman could actually work pretty well, depending on how it's, like, handled. Nick Cage was going to be Superman at one point. Yeah, no, like, he genuinely was. Now, shall we end off stream, everybody? I think now's the time that all good little lobotomites go to bed. Is Fangsie live? No, Fangsie raided me. Dang, no, I think everybody else streamed in the morning. I think. Let's see if there's anybody I can raid right now real quick. Tori Orion is live right now. Let's give her a raid. Alright, everybody, let's lobotomize the stream. What kind of raid message should we have today? What a stream, got lobotomized and immediately got told how the government could be making me think I'm crazy with sound lasers. Yeah, this is just like a normal barcast. I don't know. Lobotomized. Nah. How about, rats are rolling in. No. There we go. Alright, there's our raid message, everyone. Behave yourself. Have a good evening. Now, for schedule, I am going to be gone until after VExpo is over. Today's stream is going to be there's going to be no streams next week. I'm going to be just very, very busy with VExpo. So if you want to tune in there, check in on all the various socials and on the various socials. Yeah, and when we come back, I will catch everybody up on it. But you're gonna have a week without me. In the meantime, I want you guys to find some good information to give me for when I come back. And I promise I won't cause any trouble. Goodbye. Oh, I might release a music video this week, by the way, before I